Hey there. Well, I was going to film this while I was driving. However, we pulled over for a second, so that probably works out better. Getting this audio to work is pretty tricky. Anyhow, I was going to talk about driving with a direct, non-intercooled, aftercooled, turbocharged Caterpillar 3208 turbo diesel, 250 horse. Because that's what we have here in the 1986 Wanderlodge FC35RB. And I'm certainly not an expert in this engine. Actually, the previous owner was just explaining most of it to me very recently. But I'm going to talk about what it's been like driving it. We've clocked about 2,900 miles and haven't blown it up yet. I can tell you that, let's see, so consumption-wise, for oil, we're running 1540, just regular diesel oil, and we seem to be burning through about 2 funnels a day, each day being about 500 miles.
What's a funnel equivalent?
Funnel is about 2 pints or so of diesel. So I'd say that's a very acceptable oil burn rate. But the thing I really wanted to talk about today is what it's like driving it. So what I wind up doing is I wind up keeping tabs. Here, I'll show you here if I can see it. And I apologize for low quality video. If you can see the pyrometer and the tachometer. Yeah, those are my two big numbers that I have to keep track of. And here's how it seems to work. If I'm over 2,000 RPM, I tend to be able to keep the turbo temperature around 800 to 900 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's the pyrometer after the turbo. So that's pretty hot, but acceptable. The manual says 780, but quite honestly, I can't get it down to 780 unless I'm going downhill. The other part is the tachometer. Like I said, keep it over 2,000, the temperature will stay low. If the RPMs drop, like when I'm going up a hill, as soon as I get below 2,000 RPM, that pyrometer starts going up like this, and it goes up pretty quickly. And I'd say within 15 or 20 seconds, I can go from 800 degrees to 1,000 degrees. And 1,000 is my ceiling. That's as far up as I want to go. So if I get up to 1,000, then I wind up downshifting, which of course winds up slowing us down. Now the nice thing is, when I'm below 2,000 RPM, I can almost always go to the next lower gear. Transmission-wise, we've got an Allison M643 4-speed. So I'll wind up downshifting. Of course, it gets a little jerky for people in the cabin, so I got to warn them about that. And then, sorry, it's a bloodbath when it comes to the mosquitoes in this part of Canada. From there, I'll, anyway, just keep downshifting and taking care of it. And of course, I've got a manual override on the fan. So if I get up to anywhere near 190 degrees, because cruising is 180 on the engine coolant temperature, coolant gets up to 190, then I'll turn the fan on manually. If I've missed that, right around 195 or so, the fan will turn on automatically. But again, that's just part of what it's been like so far. Wanted to bring it up, like I said, I know it's kind of a ramble, but talking again, the non-intercooled turbo, in closing, I got to say this. I have to drive around the turbo. Like, I'm watching the turbo all the time. You know, we just crossed the Rocky Mountains yesterday, and the turbo pretty much dictated how fast I could go and how many RPMs I could pull. It's been a valuable learning experience. Tricky not blowing it up, but doing my best, trying to take it easy on the equipment. And if you have any questions or want to know anything, I'm going to cover all the systems as I go. Show what it's like when I do my morning round, before I let it off. There's a lot of things to check. And then, of course, the transmission I have to check at some point later in the day because I want it warmed up. But it's really been fun. It's been a challenge and a learning experience, but for an old boat mechanic like me, this is perfect. Again, let me know what you want to hear. If you want to know anything about, there's systems all over the place on this thing. Be happy to cover them, especially if you're looking at Wanderlodges, or if you're looking at getting into the Wanderlodge world. Again, I'm no expert. I've only been really digging into them hard for the last couple of years, but I think I got a pretty decent rig here. Again, thanks, Aaron, and let me know.